Cheerio, bonjour, hello. Okay, I really, really wish you guys liked this case as much as I do. Our favorite luggage consultant, Sarah Boone, she was in court today. I have not watched a moment of this, but every 2 or 3 days I go online to Orange County Public Records and I saw that she had a hearing. So I immediately went on, found this, and it was only posted just within the last hour. So normally, well, I'll say normally I don't bash on people's looks, but I do often talk about how our girl has no lips. So maybe I do. Maybe I'm just a snot. But look at this girl. Oh my good. What the hell is she doing? Does she have no personal desire to at least appear presentable? She looks like a woman who is drunk all the time and does not have time to worry about her own personal hygiene or appearance. And I'll say another thing. Look at how much she has aged. Oh my goodness. So, you guys know that Jim Can't Swim just recently covered it, this case. And he said she lost 6 attorneys. No, she actually only lost 5. This current attorney, Frank Bankowitz, did try to get out of the case, and the judge told him no. But what's interesting is Bankowitz is either right now doing it or is just about to finish up a death penalty case. If you have a death penalty case, you don't have time to worry about stupid bimbos who have lied all day. That's another thing. Sarah told so many different stories. She told the responding officer that she zipped him up. But then she told Chelsea and Scott, 2 terrible interrogators, that she didn't zip it all the way. If you're wearing something with a zipper right now, try to undo that zipper with 1 finger. It is 100% impossible. If you're not wearing a zipper right now, go find something with a zipper after you're done watching my whole video, please. Thank you. Oh, yeah. If you haven't subscribed, hit subscribe, hit like. I forget to say all that garbage all the time. But it's impossible. The funnier thing is when she's showing, the responding officer was a little, very pretty black woman. And we know she was little. You could tell by what the axon, the body cam, that Sarah was higher than she was. And I don't mean high like high smoking pot, but I mean high height. I'm 5'8". She told, as at one point, she explains to the officer that she unzipped George. And she puts her thumb and her forefinger together and does the perfect outline of unzipping him. She doesn't only go, you guys know what I'm talking about. This is a suitcase that you can carry on an airplane. So it has, for the most part, 3 sides. It may go over a little bit, but when Sarah shows this pretty black cop what she did, she goes, just like an E. So start your E at the bottom. Zip over to the side. Now make your E all the way up and then make the top of your E. Forget the little middle part. That's exactly what Sarah does. She lies so many times. Oh my goodness. If you're drunk and you're angry at your boyfriend, put your phone down. Well, I guess at least if you're going to murder him. But I happened to be writing Sarah a letter this moment, and that's what made me look up. I wanted to see what was going on with her court stuff. And I was trying to say something that Brian, her ex-husband, said, and I wanted to give a direct quote. See, I don't want to turn this off, but, Brian says, for all I know, every time George was arrested, he was simply defending himself. And now the end of that may be a little off, but in Sarah's letter, I have the exact words. Oh my goodness, my heart is racing. I'm so excited. Her trial starts April 10th. So if you're watching this today, it's 11 days or something. I cannot wait. This twit is going to get sentenced to the maximum, and she absolutely should. She's using the battered spouse syndrome. She was the batterer. Okay, so Doctor, what's up? You need to hit pause on what you're doing and come look. Sarah's got the beginning of the old Alba arms there. That is a nice, nice hairdo. I think Sarah's just salty because she hasn't had a drink in over 3 years. My goodness. Okay, here we go. Let me figure out my volume. Guys, this is going to take me a second. I'm not computer savvy.
Sarah Boone, 2020.
Look at that. Oh, no shackles, but she is all Alba arms, Alba arms. Do some push-ups, girlfriend. Ladies, all of you. When you're done watching my video, watch the whole thing. Walk inside, get your knees on some carpet, and just do 10 push-ups on your knees. Wait a day tomorrow so your muscles can heal, and then do it the next day. And within a week and a half, you're going to be able to do 10 real push-ups. And before that, you're going to be able to do 30. I do 30 push-ups every other day. And man, I have smoking hot arms. And yes, that's me being a little bit arrogant, but I'm very picky. I want the little mountain range on my arms.
2603, State of Florida.
She is so annoyed that she's even being charged with a crime. And you know why? Because finding George was punishment enough.
Defense.
Frank Bankowitz.
She's 45 now.
Can you please raise your hand and be sworn in?
Oh, she can't. She's got the handcuffs on. Dumb bitch.
Morning, ma'am. Tell me your name and your date of birth.
10-10-77.
All right, we're here for pre-trial conference today.
I'm sorry, guys. She'll be 46 this year. So, yes, she is 45 right now.
Cacciatore, where do you stand?
She's a good-looking woman.
To proceed forward to trial.
State's ready, Your Honor.
Mr. Bankowitz.
Of course the state's ready. The woman chose to record her crime. Let's see what Mr. Bankowitz looks like. Mr. Bankowitz is the one who tried hard to get himself removed from the case, and the judge told him no.
In regards to preparing.
Oh my goodness. Mr. Bankowitz is the dude in the walker. Okay, before her case started, they had another hearing. And there's an old man in a walker, and it was about a child custody. I just kind of listened to it a little bit, and I thought, oh, that must be the grandfather. But no. That's her attorney. You guys know why attorneys take up public defender cases, because their own practice is not bringing in enough income. So they tell the state, I'm willing to represent. So this dude is in a stinking walker. That is
This is
hilarious.
not ready. We're requesting a continuance.
Oh, I know, Wooten.
We are having difficult time.
So you see that. They're requesting a continuance. Let's see why. I should shut up and we can find out why.
An expert who is willing to work for the JAC rates. And
That's not true. So Bankowitz is saying we need more time because we are not able to find an expert who are willing to work at the rates the state pays. That's garbage. They are not able to find an expert that will tell the court what Sarah wants them to tell. Because these experts work at the state's rates every single stinking day.
so I'm still... it's an essential
Wooten,
part of the case, basically. It's
don't let her go.
Initiated before by any of the prior attorneys that I'm aware of.
In broad terms, what's the nature?
So look, Sarah is using battered spouse syndrome as her defense. When you do that, first off, you must tell the court that that is the defense you are taking, because everyone has to hire psychiatrists and things. And so the state has to have a chance to interview her. Obviously, her own people have to have a chance. But this case has been continued for 18 months now. I find it hard to believe. I know Wooten. I said I knew Wooten. Wooten's the one she's been writing the letters to, and she's a psychotic nut job. Oh my goodness. You guys know Rudy is 17 pounds, and he has a small dog bed. Well, old Oscar, 75 pounds, is all curled up on it, and Rudy is just lying next to it. And Rudy's the alpha. I'm surprised he's tolerating that. Anyway, this is garbage. They simply cannot find an expert that will agree with Sarah's opinion. Again, Sarah lost 5 previous attorneys because they weren't willing to put up with her garbage.
What's the
battered
field?
spouse defense.
Okay.
Battered spouse defense, right? Completely
Statutorily,
different.
we have to give the state notice,
Right. And they
sufficient
did.
time, and name of the expert and the essential elements that they'll be testifying to.
But when you can't find an expert that will continue your client's lies, yeah, you're in a bad spot.
Statutory, what's your position in regard to
State, try
defense
the damn
request for continuance?
case.
I would have no objection to
What?
another role.
What? What? Why?
Mr. Bankwitz, how deeply have you plumbed the depths of the pool of experts in
And
this
this is
field
ridiculous.
to find?
Why is the state willing to let it go again? The dumb twit videotaped herself murdering him. They have 2 different neighbors that within a 15-minute window said they heard a large object going from upstairs to downstairs. I assume you guys have all seen where they live. It's an apartment complex, but it's townhouses intermingled with apartments. So she's got a neighbor on the upstairs who doesn't have a basement. And that guy heard something. One of them heard it at 10:45, the other heard it at 11 o'clock. And then her next door neighbor is also a similar townhouse, and that neighbor said the same thing. And that's the neighbor that is an illegal alien. And Sarah thought if she threw him under the bus, they'd let her go. What a bitch. I'm sorry. What a
or find
bitch.
one who's willing to work for the JAC rate.
That's
Well, I've actually
garbage.
talked to 3.
It's not the
and,
rate. It's the
but
case.
They don't have contracts with JAC and are not willing to work with JAC. And I've made some other
Oh my goodness.
inroads with battered.
You guys know that we have some connections down there in the legal world. My man grew up with a man who is an attorney in Orange County, and we reached out to him about this case. And he talked to us, and he said, well, she's a very difficult client, but because I've known you 50 years, or 54 years, not me, he knew my man, I'm willing to do it. And I think I've told you guys this. We sent her an offer letter, an official offer letter. And you know what we got back? Big, gigantic return to sender. She'd even colored it in and made it look pretty. She's got nice penmanship. We'll give her that.
Shelters trying to get
Straight A
their
student.
psychologists, who'd be willing. Problem is willing to testify, basically.
They don't want to lie under oath.
Because of the concern about the compensation rate for testimony?
Well, that's one of the things.
No, it's not.
eh,
It's that
and-
they don't want to lie.
To be honest with you, this case has had so much notoriety.
I'm just kind of glancing at the comments on the side. And this girl, Kathy Nutton, what a great name. I'm nutting all day. She looks like she's aged 20 years. Somebody else says, I guess the man with the rolly pusher is her attorney or her lawyer. Exactly.
That people don't want to be involved.
Right. Because she's a liar. She lied to the police. Remember, everyone knows everything I've done for him. And then 45 minutes later, she says, no one understands our relationship. She also told the police that the probation officer called her for a 42-minute phone call to tell her how awesome she is and how wonderful. Do any of you all believe that? Absolutely not. This woman is such a narcissist. She reminds me of Prince Harry's wife. They both equally look the same, goodness. But she's such a narcissist. She honestly thought she was going to walk out of that police station that day.
So, Mr. Bankwitz, I'm certainly willing to give you additional time based on my understanding of the case. I understand why that would be a defense the defense would want to explore about potentially presenting.
But
What I'm not sure about is whether the inability to find an expert forever delays the trial of the case.
so what Wooden is saying is, I don't think you're ever going to find an expert who will get on the stand and testify under oath, under the penalty of perjury, that this woman was battered. Because she wasn't. Brian said she was, Brian, her ex-husband, said she would get violent when she drank.
Didn't expect it to be a forever delay, Judge.
They're going to give her a delay.
You know me better
It's
than that.
ridiculous.
Mr. Cacciatore, well, I just want to make sure everyone in the room understood that, I'll give reasonable amounts of time to
Oh,
prepare
come on.
a defense. The defense entitled to an adequate defense.
Wait. Reasonable amounts of time? This case happened February 23rd, 2020. It's 1,130 some days. I just looked it up because I'm writing this bitch a letter. Man, I'm getting angry. I need to calm down.
But they're not necessarily entitled to the exact defense they would prefer to have if resources run limited.
Exactly.
So, Mr. Cap,
And we offered her an attorney, and she told us to stuff it.
remind me, where are we as far as
We've had 5
lining up your
continuations.
various homicide cases
That's where we
for
are.
trial? I know we have some things set to go to trial in the June trial period.
Can you even imagine sitting in court, handcuffed, your hands are chained to your waist, and they're talking about other murder trials? I mean, oh my goodness. Maybe when you're 21, you shoplift something, or, God forbid, get a DWI. I mean, that's terrible as well. But you're not facing murder. I mean, this is a woman, 45 years old, and the judge is talking about what other murder cases do you have?
Yes, we have both Mr. Furlong and Mr. Sowell set for that. And then as far as this trial period, we have Mr. Hall and potentially Mr. Ofori as well. If I could ask of the defense, because I think it would make a difference in the timing of the continuance in this case, does the defense intend to hire an expert to testify generally as to the precepts and the things that go along with battered spouse syndrome, or do they intend to hire an expert that will evaluate Mrs. Boone and want to comment on her directly? And the reason I ask that is because I think the case law is clear that if it's the latter thing, then the state is entitled to have her sit down with our own expert to be evaluated as well. So
dude,
that would obviously take...
Man, I'm just on people. You're an attorney. You make decent money. Go get this thing removed off of your nose. My goodness. Come on, dude.
That is going to
you have an okay haircut. You're dressed well. Get that thing off your nose.
Banquets, are you in a position
Number two is definitely what we're looking at, Judge.
Of course, because they want more time.
Would be incorporated in.
And I just looked it up. According to the Bureau of Prisons, only 1.3% of women are in prison for murder. So the judge just asked this dude, what other murder cases do you have? And he said, Mr. Whatever and Mr. Whatever. There's no Mrs. in there. And I don't know why he calls her Mrs. Boone. She's not Mrs. Boone. And I feel sorry for Brian. What do you think? My guess is Brian is such a pushover. He's taken Lucas with a K to visit her in jail, which is horrendous. Brian needed to cut her off. At one point, Sarah gets so upset because George's ex-wife won't allow him to speak to his children because he doesn't pay a child support. And she's horrified. She cannot believe that. What? Your ex-husband should not have allowed you access to your child because you're a stinking drunk.
As far as their general ability and their expertise in the area.
Oh, my goodness.
Would you agree that if, in fact, you retain an expert and they're going to opine specifically on Miss Boone's
they're not going to find someone to lie
at the time of the incident, that
her state of mind was clear. She's on record saying, George says, I can't breathe. This is how I feel when I can't breathe. And she says, this is how I feel when you cheat on me. Her state of mind is crystal clear. Okay, hang on one second. So I wrecked a mailbox. And I had to have my man go replace it. And he went to get it, and he's home. Yes, I did. I backed the truck straight into the mailbox and destroyed it. And a brand new farm box is $60-some, which really surprised me. But he's back right now. Honey, I happen to be taping this moment. Is everything okay? Uh-oh. He's got a bad, bad face. Yes? Done?
I can't.
Okay.
We're not in a football stadium.
Okay, guys, I'm going to hit pause, and I'll just put this together and come back to you. Okay, I'm sorry about that. He's walking in. He's looking all angry, and I'm thinking, okay, I better fix. I'll stop. And he just was annoyed with something else. It had nothing to do with that. Okay, so we're back to. Obviously, if you've been watching, Sarah's trying to get yet another continuance. Man, if I were her, I would much rather get my sentence and serve my time and get the hell out. It's as if when people are... Elizabeth Holmes, she's that Theranos fraud. I believe she's still out right now. But she was sentenced, I don't not remember, I'm sorry, 7 or 10 years. Man, the judge says you have 10 years and you have to report in 6 months. Heck, I'm reporting the next day because I don't want to be sitting in prison with 6 months left and think, dang, I could already be out by now. Man, but again, this woman is 100% confident that she is going to be acquitted. Oh, I turned my volume off.
Let's say that turns out not to be an issue. We're not going to have 2 experts. How long?
Okay, so hang on. I'm going to back up a little bit. We may have already seen this.
And Castro, let me ask you this. Let's say that turns out not to be an issue. We're not going to have 2 experts. How long would it otherwise take you to present your case? Just rough idea.
It's going to take an hour and a half.
I would say 3 days.
Right. Exactly.
And other than this potential defense, Mr. Bankowitz, and is that including jury selection, Mr. Cacciatore?
Yes.
No, well...
Yes. This is an open and shut case. She recorded herself. I think the biggest problem with jury selection is going to be able to find 15 people, 12 regulars, 3 alternatives, or maybe they do 6, who are not familiar with the case. I think that's going to be the most difficult part because they're going to say to people, have you ever zipped up a suitcase? Have you ever zipped a zipper? I mean, goodness.
Other than this potential defense, if we picked a jury in 1 day, the state presented their case in 2.5 days, how long do you anticipate a defense presentation would be at this point?
I would say at least 3 days.
What are you going to say for 3 days?
So here's what
She's
I'm
a
thinking.
drunk. She's a drunk.
I'll grant the continuance. I'm thinking continuing to the July 11th pretrial.
July 11th. Okay. And yes, I did just call her a whore. She was hooking up with George while she was still living with Brian. Brian would wake up at 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning and there'd be strangers all over her house. So she is a whore. Maybe that's why she has the hairdo. So the guys can't grab on the back of her hair. July 11th?
Trial period, Judge?
Come on, man.
Time certain death penalty case in Lake County starting the 2nd week in August.
That's a 3-week trial period, so it would be the week starting Monday, July 24th.
Man, if I am ever on trial for murder, I sure hope my attorney is not using a walker.
Monday, July 31st, and then the last week of the trial period would be Monday, August 7th.
That's when I'm scheduled to start picking a jury in Lake County.
Well,
you'll be okay.
Let's do this. I want to set it for that date. That way you'll have a much better idea of what's actually happening on your death penalty case in Lake County. I understand that they're priority cases, but I also know that they're the cases where if a problem comes up, no matter what a judge has said before, they're likely to allow the case to move because they don't want to try it twice.
Just to advise the court, this case had to be continued at the last minute because of one of the attorney's wives had basically had a stroke. And
that's not true. This case has had to be continued because Sarah is not getting along with her attorneys. She is not a battered spouse. She is the batterer, and she chose to videotape her crime. You guys, in the interrogation, if I'm smart enough, I'll put it on the end. She's upset because she doesn't want to be in one of those tiny holding cells. It'll give her a panic attack. Hello? What about George?
So there was it was a week before we were scheduled to start in that case, but Judge Davis up there, now that has, I won't say resolved itself,
it's a perfect little bald
is in a better
spot.
position. Judge Davis
And
has
all the rest
advised
of
all
his
us
hair
that
grows fine.
we're going,
What the heck?
quote, come hell or high water.
Okay.
See, I try not to say things like that
You
because I
can't.
feel like I'm just tempting
Well,
fate.
that's just Lake County, Judge. What do you expect?
Oh, come on. Don't be dissing Lake County.
Having never worked there,
They don't have any murderers who
It means
videotape
nothing.
themselves doing the crime.
I'll grant the change July 11th pre-trial, July 24th trial period. And let's go ahead and do this. While I'm giving July
She's
11th
looking
the date,
good.
let's go ahead and have the lawyers reach out to my judicial assistant and just like we did this time, schedule
Status.
Alba
a
Arms.
status separate unique
Alba
date for
Arms.
pre-trial so that I have y'all have my
I'm
undivided
getting way
attention
too much
when we talk
pleasure out
about
of
the
this.
case. I don't have
The
97
Torres
other
family,
lawyers
I-
tapping their fingers.
I'm sorry. I've prayed for
waiting
you.
to, get
I
to me.
feel empathy
Sounds
for
good,
you.
Judge.
But
Okay.
this is
Thank you, sir.
fun.
All right, Ms. Boone, we return to the Orange County Jail pending.
Oh, yay. She's going
further
back to
order
jail.
of court.
Hot
And Mr.
dog.
Banquet, you can electronically file the motion to continue,
Yes, sir, we will.
and the court minutes will say it's granted. All right,
Thank you, Judge.
have a good day.
Okay, well that's awesome. If I'm able to figure it out, I will try to put that little clip where she's all panicked about being in there. I'll see you guys in a few seconds. Okay, guys, I'm going to start this just 2 or 3 seconds before I really wanted to. I find this comical. Sarah's very worried about when she will get access to a phone because she needs to talk to Brian. Okay, well, isn't Brian your ex-husband? Remember, this happened on a Monday. I believe the Thursday or Friday prior, Brian sent her money because her bank account was in the negative. Sweetheart, you divorced this man. You are not his responsibility. And Brian enables her. I'm sorry, he does. He needs to say, Sarah, if you're drunk, you're not going to see the child. Sarah, if your bank account's overdrawn, I guess you're out of luck. Your alimony payment comes in on the 1st. Brian needed to cut her off. It's not Brian's fault this happened, but Brian needed to cut her off. Come on, man. But here's the good part.
How quickly you get down there?
She's got the nastiest
I had
looks.
no work in
suspicion this was going to happen.
Did you?
And I need
Sit
water,
down.
like, really bad, please.
Sit down. Look at that. Look at that. Doctor, what's up? Go look. Look at that face. You guys know she won arguments with Brian, A, by screaming, because there's multiple times throughout this she starts screaming at these detectives. But she gives those nasty looks.
You all tricked me down here.
No, they didn't, you dumbass.
Absolutely.
You know, in the police car yesterday, the very first time the detectives actually really speak to Sarah, Chelsea says, so I'm going to read you your rights, just because that's how we do it. Chelsea does, that's about the only good thing Chelsea does. These two interrogators were absolutely ridiculous. At one point, Sarah says, I thought I would just give him 5 minutes in there to squirm. Or I thought I would give him 5 minutes in there. And Scott says, for what? And that's when you just be quiet and let her answer. But Chelsea hates this woman so much. She's like, well, actually, you gave him 11 minutes. My math is better. I mean, she didn't say the letter, but Chelsea hates this girl so much, it affected the interrogation. She does not have Alba Arms as much here. She's gotten a little chunky with the jail diet.
I just got those.
Okay.
Her
You're not allowed
cigarettes.
in the jail.
The one thing is they say
So I
the
can't even smoke cigarettes.
police officers, so I think that's uncool. They need to at least let her puff on a cigarette. If they're taking her to the car, she's got a few seconds. They should let her do that. But the police officer, the girl, this pretty blonde cop says, well, the cigarettes and stuff can't come. Well, what's the stuff? You can't have a cigarette and lighter, but what's the stuff? I really am curious. What else was in her purse that was not able to go? Look at her. Look. Oh, that evil eye. Oh, she's nasty.
And what am I supposed to do with my car?
He does. No one cares.
Find where there's
Right.
When you get down there,
No one cares. This
you'll
is
have
your
three
own
phones. You'll be able to
fault.
call.
You murdered
Right,
someone.
possible?
You dumb
Yeah, once you get down
bitch.
there and get booked in, you'll be able to.
Okay,
use
here
your
it
phone
comes.
In the waiting
And how
area.
long will that take? 'Cause
I
need
like
to
this
talk
cop.
to
I think
Brian.
she's cute. She needs to
And
drop
how
30
quickly-
pounds.
How quickly they get you
She's got
through.
great hair.
I would say within the hour. It's a free phone call
Yeah.
in the
Yeah.
lobby. It's a free
Right.
phone
All I'm
call.
doing is bring you there. Sign
Okay.
the paper, and I'll do it.
Here it
She has
comes.
No clue.
Get
So
ready.
can I ask you?
Get ready.
Or whoever.
Here it is.
Those holding cells. The holding cells. Am I gonna be put in one of those?
I don't know.
Last time I had a panic attack.
Last time I had a panic attack because the cell was so small. Yet an hour previous, she says, well, I didn't think George was panicky. Oh my goodness. If not for double standards, Sarah Boone would have no standards at all.
Let them know that.
Dirty,
I don't
dirty
know.
Well,
tramp.
you're familiar with the big bay. As long
Of
as
course
you
she
go in,
is. She's been
and
arrested.
You act civil to them, they'll set you in the big bay. And you'll be left there.
Can you request that while I'm there?
No, that's not
No.
the problem. We don't work at the jail.
No,
As long as
sweetheart.
like you saying, is if you don't
If you
act up,
go in and act like this, you'll go in and they'll put you in the big bay. If you go in there screaming and kicking and yelling and
How would
cursing
I
at
do
people,
that?
Okay, so he just explained if you go in calm, you stay in the big bay. If you freak out, you go into the holding cells, which means Sarah has entered the jail freaking out, and therefore she ended up in a holding cell. Yet she just said, why would I do that? Well, you've done it before, you dumb whore.
oh, I'm just letting you know that's what happens. That's how we
Right,
people
that's
out.
exactly,
If
because
you go in acting like
you
this,
were crazy
So I ask
once
for the big
before.
bay?
they'll put you there.
Do
as
I,
long as you're
this
acting
girl's
like
so
Yes, the
stupid.
last time I had
For a straight A student, she's about dumb as rocks.
a major panic attack on those little things.
Right.
hey, let them know.
A major panic attack in those little things. Think what George was thinking.
Good, Shanna.
I have not
So what am I gonna do with my purse? Oh, sorry.
Nobody
First
cares.
is gonna come, but the cigarettes and stuff can't.
Yeah, what's
so.
the stuff? Oh, shaking her head. She cannot believe it.
Oh, no, it's all good.
Because
Minor. No,
to this day, she loves George.
What made you all decide to do this?
George is dead.
They just decided to do this.
Uh-huh.
George is dead.
You dumb
You
whore.
guys, I knew this was gonna happen.
You
Yeah,
did?
you did. Well, you committed a
Okay,
crime.
Yes.
Oh my
absolutely.
goodness.
We were
Exactly.
trying to figure out what's going on.
You
We're still
dumb
trying to figure
skank.
out.
Unintentionally.
Doesn't matter. She actually said the word properly that time, unintentionally. But do you also notice so many times she goes, unintentional, unintentional. At one point, Chelsea is trying to describe what Sarah is doing. And Chelsea starts a sentence and she hesitates because she's trying to think of the proper word. And Sarah goes, not malicious, not malicious. So, Sarah, by saying that, you're saying it was malicious.
We're not. George is dead.
That's exactly right. Look at that face.
You act like when you say unintentionally, that absolves you
This
from
was the
treatment.
best thing
I need
for
to
Lucas
get,
Boone.
I have my, I don't know.
I sure hope his peers at school are not teasing him.
Able to be or not?
I apologize.
I just want to see her go out to the car
I have
because
things in
that's
my car
fun.
that
I
I
don't
need
think
to-
they're going to show it.
Put your
Yeah, what do you need in your car?
What kind of stuff do you have in your car? That
She needs her panic medicine. You don't have health insurance. How do you have panic medicine?
Well, I have my medication.
okay, they have a pharmacy there, so if there's
Yes.
something that you have to
Her
have
arms
right
are
away,
a little more toned here. I guess she's picking up that wine bottle.
again, when you get
And then now she's
you're
been
gonna
in
use
prison
yours.
3 years and a quarter. She
And that
doesn't
they
pick
have
the
a
wine
pharmacy
bottle up
there,
anymore.
So they'll be able to take care of any kind of that stuff. That protocol
Oh,
is out of
she's
my realm.
so
I
angry.
don't work down there, so I don't know, but I do know they
This is a woman who is used to getting her way by staring people down and screaming. And it's not working and she is freaked out.
have a pharmacy. And that you will be afforded to see somebody.
Stop chewing the gum like that. Come on, man. This girl's so pretty. Lose some weight, honey. Okay, that's it. If you're still watching right now, I'm shocked. I'm humbled. Thank you. I apologize for the little mess up earlier with the mailbox, but the man looked angry and I need to take care of it. Okay, thank you. God bless you and God bless America. When you go to bed at night, pray. Our country needs